If you want to write, edit, live preview your HTML code changes in Visual Studio or VS Code, you are in the right place. This video has been taken off my VS Code and HTML5 courses. If that interests you, please take a look in the description below. Now let's get into it. The first thing that we have to do is to install Visual Studio Code. If you already have it, just skip to the next section. Otherwise, just go to your browser and search for VS Code. Open the result that is from code.visualstudio.com, which is usually the first one, and when it opens up, download the stable build for your operating system. I am using Windows, which is already selected here, so I'm just going to click here to download it. If you're using a different platform, just click on this arrow here and then select whether it's Mac OS or Linux. So let me just click here to download it. Once it finishes downloading, go to the download location and then double click it to start the installation. Read the license agreement and then click on I accept the agreement and then click on next. You then have to select the destination for the installation. I'm just going to keep the default and then click on next. Just click on next on the start menu folder and then select the additional tasks. Here, you can select the option to create a desktop icon, which I'm not going to select because as you can see, I don't like desktop icons. But I'm going to select the Open with Code actions. This allows you to right-click on a file or a folder and then choose Open with VS Code. Also make sure that path is selected and then click on Next. Now just verify that everything is okay and then click on Install to start the installation. When it's done, it will show you the finished dialog with Launch Visual Studio Code selected. We do want to launch Visual Studio Code, so just click on Finish, which will open up VS Code. Just make it full screen and then we'll be ready to create our HTML pages. Visual Studio Code bases itself around folders, so a project is essentially a root folder with all that project's files. So just go to File and then select Open Folder. And then select where you want your project folder to be. For me, I want it to be in F, and then you can create that folder if it doesn't exist. Mine doesn't exist, so I'm just going to create a folder which I'm going to call VS Demo. And then I'm going to select that folder and then click on Select Folder. Now let me just close this welcome page. If this arrow is pointing down, it means that we are seeing the files that are in this folder, and currently we do not have any files. Now let's begin creating our HTML page, and we're going to create a simple index page or home page. Now just hover over your project name and these icons should show up. Click on the first one, which allows you to create a new file. When you click it, it will show a pop-up box, and in the box just type in index.html. This will open up a new file in HTML edit mode. Notice the icon here, which identifies that this file is an HTML file. If I were to change the extension, say to Java, you can see it's now a J, which means that Visual Studio is picking up what kind of file this is. Now let's just change it back to HTML and continue. Now we're going to create a simple HTML page with a title and a heading. The first thing we need is a doc type, which basically tells the browser how it should interpret the file. Now we're going to create a simple HTML page with a title and a heading. The first thing we need is a doc type, which basically tells the browser how it should interpret the file. As you know, everything in HTML is in tags, so if you just put in a less than sign, Visual Studio Code will give you some options, and the one that we want is doc type. So just use your cursor to select doc type and press enter. As you can see, the doc type is HTML, which means that the browser will interpret this file as an HTML file. Now let's put a marker for the whole HTML page. So just press enter to go to a new line. Open a tag and then type in HTML. When you close this tag, Visual Studio will automatically put in the closing tag for us, as you can see here. Now just press enter to go inside that tag. Now we need a head tag. A head tag is a container for the metadata. So just type in HE. When you see the option that you want, you can just select it and then press enter. Close the tag and then press enter. Metadata is not displayed except for the title, and it typically defines the document title which we want, styles, scripts, and other meta information. So inside the head tag, we're going to put in our title tag. So just type in title and then close it and press enter. Inside the title tag, I'm going to put in VS Code HTML. This is what will be displayed at the top of the browser window. This finishes off the head section. Now we have to do a body section. The body section defines what we actually see on the web page. So below the closing head tag, just type in BO and then select body, put the closing bracket and then press enter. And now we have our opening and closing body tags. Inside the body, I'm just going to put in the heading tag, which is H1. So I'm just going to type H1. And inside the H1 tag, I'm going to put in Visual Studio Code HTML demo. With that, we have finished our basic HTML page. Now we need to save this file. If you see a dot or circle like this one here on the file name, or this one here on the title bar, it means that your file has changes that are not saved. To save the changes, you can go to File and then click on Save. Alternatively, you can just press Ctrl S, which will save the file. Notice the dot disappears here as well as on the title bar, indicating that there are no longer any unsaved changes. Now to view our index.html file in a web browser, just right click on it and then select Review in File Explorer. Now just double click the file that you see to open it in your web browser. Now let me just minimize this and also this. Now as you can see, our title VS Code HTML is what we also get here. And what we have on the H1 heading, Visual Studio Code HTML demo, is what we also get here. This works, but it is not an efficient workflow because when you make a change to the file, for example, if I change my heading from Visual Studio Code to just VS Code, I have to save the file and then either open it this way, or if it's already open like this, refresh the file and then I can see my changes. There are two things that we can do to improve the workflow. The first thing is installing an extension that will open the file directly in a browser installed on our computer. On the left side of Visual Studio, there are a lot of icons. Click the one that is for extensions to open the extensions tab. Alternatively, you can just go to File, Preferences, and then select Extensions. Once the Extensions tab is open, put your cursor on the search bar and then search for Open in Browser. Select the first option that comes up. When the Open in Browser extension page opens up, just make sure it's from TechER, and as the time of recording, it's been downloaded 3.1 million times, which means that it's a good extension. We'll talk more about extensions in the next videos. This extension allows you to open the current file in your default browser or in any other browser installed on your computer. Now just click on the Install button to install it. It doesn't take time, and to verify that it is installed correctly, instead of the Install button, we now have the Disable and Uninstall buttons. Now let me just close this extension page and go back to our file. Now if I right click on our file, we now have the options Open in Default Browser as well as Open in other browsers on our computer. I'm going to select Open in Default Browser, and as you can see, it has opened my file in the default browser. And now I no longer have to review it first in Explorer and then double click it. The second thing that we can do to improve our workflow is to have our code and browser side by side so that we can see our changes in real time, that is, live preview our changes. I don't want to make this video long, so I cover that in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please like the video if you liked it, and I'll catch you in the next one.